Hello and welcome back. Soups here. Today we're going to be working on a mega base project. Yes, today we're leaving Serenity behind, we're leaving Soupland behind just for a little bit, and we're going to be working on a new mega base project. I know some of our other builds have been pretty big, but this one's going to take the cake. This one is going to be much bigger and it's going to take us a lot longer to build. So I'm excited to get some progress done because I have a really cool idea for this one, and I'm really excited to see how it's going to turn out. So this is going to be our new island for our mega base project, although we aren't really going to be using the island so much as the space above the island. And as you can see, I've already started with the our outer circle here. Actually, sorry, our inner circle. This is going to be the inner circle for the ring that we are going to start off with. Now, again, like I said, I have some ambitious plans for this project. It's going to be pretty big, but when you're building a mega project, especially one of your first big projects, you really don't know kind of what to expect in the end. So the first thing that you can do is just start placing some blocks. Don't you love it when you do the one side and everything all lines up perfectly first try? Whew. I hate it when you mess up because then you don't know where you messed up and you have to just kind of start the whole thing over again. Well, and there we have it. We have the whole, both the inner and the outer circles complete. Look how much space we have there. Look at that. So now that we have that done, I'll tell you the basic plan that I have originally for this shape here. I'm gonna have the outer layer, the outer ring, have all of kind of like my farms and my resource gatherers and that kind of thing. And then in the center here where I'm standing is going to be the collection spot, my storage. So it's going to be kind of a fly in, fly out area with this main big, I don't know what I'm going to put in the center here, some kind of structure that's going to hold my storage. But everything from the outer rings, all the farms and everything, are going to funnel into this center section through like glass columns so that you can, see the items carried through from the outer ring into the inner section. And then, so all the farms are going to get stacked here and then get funneled into the center. And then this is about 5 chunks in either direction. So if I have an AFK spot somewhere in the center here, then I'll have everything loaded in and I can have lots of different farms kind of spread around all the way around here and then all funneled directly into the center. And I think that's going to be pretty cool. And the whole thing is going to be built in kind of a black concrete with some colored stained glass and lots of lighting. And so it's going to have kind of a bit of a celestial kind of look to it, something like that, kind of a space type theme. I don't really know. That's kind of the vibe I'm going for, but like I said, I don't really know until I start placing more blocks exactly what it's going to look like, and we'll kind of go from there. But I think the idea that I have in my head so far is a pretty good starting off point. But for now, let's sleep so we can light this place up a little bit so we don't get any mobs spawning on our concrete. Alright, so now that we have our outer rims complete and we have kind of an idea of what we want to do here, I think the next thing is just to work on a bit of a design because I'm not sure what colors I want to actually incorporate into this. I'm thinking oranges, like black and orange is kind of cool, maybe a red or yellow. I'm not really sure, or maybe I just do a whole bunch of different colors. I haven't really decided yet, but the first thing I want to do is figure out, because this is going to be kind of the platform area for the farms. So in here, I'm going to have 2 layers of this, actually. I'm going to have this ring and then another ring above, and there's going to be a glass wall that goes around and encases this whole thing. And then in the center here is going to be like a walkway. Like this is going to be all a walkway. And what that's going to lead to is all the different farms. And all the farms are going to be situated either on top or below this kind of ring of like walkway that goes all the way around, and then there's going to be kind of access points to each different farm from here, and then from here you can also access like the center portion. So for now I just need to figure out how I want to set up the design for the walkway on the center, and then maybe the walls as well. So I'm gonna take a little bit of time and try to figure that out. And just like that, we made a whole bunch of really good progress. I mean, look at this. This is really starting to shape up to be something, I think. It's something. I like it so far. I don't know. I mean, we have the glass walkway, which I think is pretty cool because I think eventually when we have items flowing through here, we can even put the items kind of underneath the walkway here, and we can walk over and see all the items that are being transferred. I don't know. Maybe that could be something. That could be pretty cool. But then if we fly out here, look at that. I think the orange and the black with the yellow frog lights is a really good color combination. I really like the way this looks. It's actually looking all filled out with the roof and the flooring done. The only thing we're still missing, obviously, is the wall that goes all the way across. This is the kind of the design that I've been playing around with the, again, kind of matching the orange, and then we have the black glass going into the regular glass, and then this black, the black ring in the middle, just to give it a little bit more kind of weight to the build. I found when it was just glass all the way through, it kind of looked a little bit odd, almost like the pieces weren't kind of connected enough. I think that'll change too once we add in the farm sections. Like they're gonna stick out from the outside. I think gonna kind of like this, which will give it a little bit more weight. And then obviously when we add the center portion as well, that will really help fill this whole thing out. But so far, I really like the way that this is looking. I think we have a really good starting off point for the build, and a really nice color palette to go along with it as well. And now all I have to do is finish putting in all of the glass walls. I mean, it wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for glass panes. These glass panes really are not very fun to place. Makes you a little bit dizzy just staring straight up, placing your blocks like this. And think, I only have like a few thousand more to go. Well, time to lock in and get this done. I'll see you when it's finished. Okay, so I finished up all the glass walls. And then I also went ahead and added in kind of a base for the center platform. I guess an outline. And I think this is a pretty good size to hold the center storage. And we can make this vertically as, as big as we want to. So we don't have to worry about, making it too wide. Because I do want a lot of space kind of in between here for the columns or the pillars that are going to connect the center to the outer rings. And then I also added these other ones here because I'm going to have, these are where the farms are going to be. But I think now that I'm looking at it, now that I've added these in on all four sides, I think it's a little bit too small. So if you look at it from underneath, there's the center pillar that's going to house, all our storage and everything. And then these are the outer pillars that are going to have, the farms. And I might even add kind of smaller ones in here as well. I'm not sure, maybe even in the center. But for the meantime, I think these are going to be the main ones that are going to hold most of the farms. And I think because of that, they need to be bigger than this. This is 19 blocks in diameter, but I think we might need to make it more like 27 or something. Maybe not 25, 27. I don't know. I'll play around with it a little bit, but it definitely needs to be a bit bigger than this, I think. Okay, so I have gone ahead and changed these outer circles from 19 blocks in diameter to 27 blocks in diameter, and I think now they're much more proportionate for the outer rim here. Because before they were just a little bit bigger than the diameter of or the width of this ring here. And then when they were put up against the side of it, they were kind of just too small. They didn't look like they really were big enough, kind of weight-wise. I don't know how to explain it, but sometimes when you're building these big things, there's a certain weight that you're looking for to kind of make things look or feel real and proportionate. And they just were too small. So this looks a lot better. Plus, I'm gonna have a lot more room to actually build the farms inside of here, which is gonna look pretty cool. But now I just need to build them up vertically a little bit more, and give them a little bit of design, and then we can start to maybe implement some farms in here. That would be pretty cool. I have had to make so much concrete. I really wish there was a faster way to do this, but here we are, sitting in my concrete pond, making concrete. And I'm going to be here for a little while because I have a lot of concrete left to make. I have a whole chest, shulker full of black concrete powder, but I also need to make more orange and dark gray concrete as well because I am all out of all my concrete. So I have to make probably 3 shulkers of concrete before I can really continue in any meaningful way. But before I do that, let's just take a look at the progress that I've made because I think I've finished or come up with a design that I'm happy with finally. So here it is. Here is our column, and I'm kind of thinking like these are going to be somewhat of like a jet engine or something of a jet engine. So this is going to be the upper portion, and then this is going to extend downward with the same design as well. And then I think I'm going to cap it off at the top, and then on the bottom I'm going to put some sort of like propulsion or something. It'd be really cool to have kind of like a jet engine kind of coming out from underneath that with lots of like colored stained glass and frog lights or something like that, just to give it kind of like the aesthetic that these are the propulsion to hold the spaceship kind of in the air. I think that's going to look really cool. But this is a big build. It's a lot of concrete, so it's going to take me a little while to get to that point. But I think I'm pretty happy with the design so far. One thing that I forgot to mention while we were up there, actually, that you may have noticed, is that we have quite the accumulation of snow in certain areas, like this one right here, and then again just over in this spot. And it's really weird because this thing is so big, it kind of reaches into certain biomes in certain places, like for instance right here and then over there. And those two places are right over the Stony Shore biome. And I didn't know this. I learned this recently, that Stony Shore biomes are part of the collection of biomes that will accumulate snow at certain altitudes. So what this means is that we have snow spawning in certain places and not others. And then another thing that I learned recently is that frog lights prevent snow from accumulating, because obviously you can see even in these areas where the snow is accumulating, it only accumulates up on the top here, away from the frog lights. So because these frog lights emit a maximum light level of 15, they will prevent snow from accumulating. So I was originally thinking we were gonna have to do like carpets or I don't know, string even maybe. That would have been gross, but then you know it takes away from the aesthetic of that nice orange color. But what we can do instead is just use frog lights, and I don't know. I haven't tested it out yet. I don't know what it's gonna look like, but I think if we just do a strip of these frog lights right in the center along here, it'll solve the snow problem, and we won't have this nice solid orange ring right on the top anymore, which I kind of like, but I think it might look fine with the frog lights in there as well. But it will definitely look better than having these snow patches, because I don't really like the snow patches there. And here we are back in the concrete pond, making some more concrete. Since the last cut, we have actually made a ton of progress. So let's hop out of this concrete pit and hop up there and take a look at what we've done. All right, here we are. Are we ready for the grand reveal? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Look at this. Look how spectacular. I mean, I don't mean to toot my own horn or anything, but I think this looks really cool. These huge propulsion farm pillars turned out much better than I had anticipated. And there is so much room in here. Look at all this space. Each one of these is going to be filled with different farms. And I mean it looks big now, but I'm sure as soon as I start building the redstone stuff that goes inside of here for all the farms, I'm going to think to myself, wow, I wish I built this a little bit bigger. But I think I can manage to fit quite a bit of stuff in here. I'll just have to build them more vertically than anything, which will be fine. As you can see too, I also went ahead and added in my beacons, because I would like to have the entire thing covered with beacons, of course, because I like beacons. And then the last thing I did too was add in our anti-snow frog light strip along the center of the orange here, which actually looks pretty cool. I don't know why I had any doubts, but of course another strip of frog lights looks really cool in this circle pattern. So that's done, and as you can see, there is no more snow spawning anywhere, so we have prevented that, except for you know, on the top of this one here, but I will deal with that because I haven't put the cap on the top of this pillar yet. I haven't figured out the design that I want to do for that just yet. But another thing too that I want to mention is the beacons, because I placed them here thinking that I could do some sort of another kind of like pillar design like this, just encasing the beacons and having them kind of suspended or connected to the ring somehow. But I realized that without actually calculating too much the spacing of these, the beacons don't quite reach into the outer farm pillars out here. And so what I need to do is actually move them to this spot. This spot, if I have the beacons centered in these 4 blocks here or these 4 blocks here, they will reach all the way into the center and all the way out to each pillar as well. So I'm going to have to rethink the design in terms of where I want them to be, because obviously I can't just have them, or I don't want to have them just kind of sitting here, just as is. So I'm going to have to come up with some design to attach them to the roof here. But for now, I'll just leave them there, until I start to actually work on the farms inside, and then I'm going to want the buffs. But for now, I think this is looking really cool. I think I even opened up, actually, I even opened up the space here. So there's a nice doorway. So eventually I'll have kind of like an entrance point where I can access all the farms depending on which farm is in, each section. And another thing is I haven't quite figured out which farms are going to go in each section. Not that it matters, but I haven't figured out which farms I actually want to put in. I know I'm going to want like a creeper farm and a sugarcane farm for infinite rockets. I'm gonna want pumpkin and melon farms. I'm gonna want an iron farm. These are the essentials, of course, and then we'll see. I might want some other ones, some bits and bobs. I'm gonna have quite a bit of space, obviously, for it, so I'm definitely gonna want to fill it up with all of my favorite farms and favorite resources. I think the next thing that I'm going to do now, though, before I start working on any kind of farms or anything, is work on the propulsion from the bottom of all of the cylinders here. Because I think what I'm going to want is some sort of flooring in the bottom of this, so that when I start to build the farms in here, I have some sort of platform on the bottom to actually start from. Because when items fall or I need to actually place blocks, it's going to be a pain when there's no floor. So I'll build a floor in there and then have kind of like the jet portion of the build kind of coming down from underneath it, and we'll see if that actually looks like it's actually kind of flying. So I think that'll be pretty cool. And then I was also thinking, because there's going to be huge, like, fiery jets kind of coming down, eventually it'll be nice to terraform areas like this and make it all kind of like burnt and fiery, and get rid of the trees and make it all blackened, with kind of like red glowing hot like embers and stuff, because the jet engines have obviously burned a big hole in the landscape. I think that'll be pretty cool. And then, over here, same thing. The stone will be all kind of like charred and burned. In the water here, obviously, I don't think I can do or need to do much. I don't know. We'll think about that. And then same with this one over here. It's just over water, so it probably won't affect the water too much. So I think maybe just in this spot and that spot we can have big burn marks underneath, and that would be pretty cool, and lend to the idea that they're big propulsion units that are blasting lots of heat downwards. The one question I have, though, in terms of the build is whether I make the heat or the jet, whatever you want to call it, from the propulsion cylinders, I guess we'll call them. Do I want to make it like red and yellow and kind of like that, like an actual jet engine, or do I want to make them like a bluish color? I think the red and the yellow, maybe some orange, is more realistic and what you'd expect to see from a propulsion unit, just because of rockets and stuff like that we see in real life. But I think blue is kind of more like Star Wars-esque and more sci-fi, which I think is a little bit cooler. So I'm thinking I'm leaning towards blue. I'm leaning towards the blue color, I think, but I'm not convinced yet. I'm not 100% sure. So I might try out a little bit and just see what it looks like. And we can play around with it a little bit before we go ahead and finish all four of them at least, because it's a lot of work. So we'll start with one, see how it looks, and we'll go from there. All right. Well, I have completed the first iteration of the propulsion jet engine thing, and this is what it looks like so far. And I have the right idea. Like, it's the right kind of shape, and I'm liking the blue color. The problem is it's not very bright. And obviously it should be bright because it's a jet engine. So the tip down here should be super bright. It should be bright up along the outside like this. But right now it's kind of only bright in the center. And that's obviously because there's, all those sea lanterns there. But it kind of looks funny down towards here, and you're not really sure what it is. And it looks even funnier in the daytime. Let's just quickly flip to daytime here. There we go. So if you look now, oh, there's an Enderman in there. Okay, well, yeah, he's not supposed to be in there. Anyway, if you look now, I mean, yeah, it's daytime, so everything else is super bright, but this kind of almost looks dark. Like, it gets kind of dark right in the middle here, and especially down at the bottom, and then obviously down here it's dark because the shadow. But well, we can fix that later. But the point is that I think I need to maybe bring the sea lanterns out towards the edge and line just like the outer rim with sea lanterns instead of just having them in the center and the top, and maybe that will help. Which means I probably need to beef up this area here so that I can fit more sea lanterns inside. I'm not sure. Anyway, I have to play around with it still a little bit. I'm on the right track, but I'm not quite happy with how it looks just yet. Okay, and we're back. And now looking at this one compared to this one that we just did, I think this one is so much better. So as you can see, it's kind of like it's light all the way through. There's kind of no dark spots anymore because of the added sea lanterns that kind of funnel down. Whereas this one, you can kind of see, oh, and our Enderman friend left a grass block in there. That's cool. But this one you can see on the outside of the glass here, especially down at the bottom, it kind of gets dark. Oops. It kind of gets too dark, whereas this one's fully lit all the way through compared to this one. And not only that, but this one is much bigger and kind of has a better taper to it, I think. And so it looks like it's producing more thrust than that one. And so when I look at it from kind of like an upwards perspective, looking at the whole thing, this one looks like it gives kind of more thrust compared to, or proportionally for the size of this build. So I think this is a winner. I think now all I have to do is get rid of this one and then mimic this one on all four sides. I don't know that I could have done this without this friendly little happy ghast here. Building things upside down has never been easier now that we have these happy ghasts. I don't know what we used to do before these things, but man, this is an excellent addition to the game. The controls can still be a little bit finicky, a little bit hard to get used to, especially when you try to shift to go down and you just stand up on the ghast instead. So moving downwards and upwards is kind of difficult, but once you kind of get the hang of it, it's not so bad. It definitely makes things a lot easier than trying to scaffold your way all the way up here and build upside down like that. Like, this is so much easier. This is the part of the build that kind of makes me go cross-eyed a little bit. We have our sea lanterns in behind, and then we have blue stained glass around the sea lanterns, and then we have light blue stained glass around the blue stained glass. And so I gotta try to put light blue stained glass on all the blue stained glass. And trying to tell the difference between the two colors sometimes is a little bit challenging. Thankfully, after this one, there's only one more left to do, and then we're done all the thrusters. And there we have it. I think we're all finished. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4 thrusters all completed. And I gotta say, it looks really cool. I'm quite pleased with how this turned out. I think the blue color was definitely the right choice. I think orange and red might have been kind of too much orange with the build since the rest of it's already orange. But I'm really happy with this. There's obviously some more work that needs to be done, like the terraforming underneath. Obviously lots more to do with the actual build itself. We haven't even begun the farms or the storage collection or anything like that, but this is a really good frame to start off with. I think we have a really good concept here. Everything's starting to look really nice and polished. And I'm really excited to get working on the rest of it. But that's all the time we have for this video. So if you liked the video, please feel free to leave a like and a comment and subscribe for more. And if you do, we will see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.